Hello, my soccer universe. The international break is upon us. Yay! Yes, I'm always excited about the international break. I actually love international football, and I wish there was one more, not in June, but a little bit sooner than that. But I do understand that having one in mid-late March and then you would have one in May, just when everything wraps up, would not make sense. That's why should have the international break at the beginning of March, have another one at the beginning of May, and you can stretch the season then out a little bit. I know I'm talking way too much about it, but I'm really happy about this one. The only thing that I'm not so happy is it's a little bit all, messed up, because we have World Cup qualifying starting in Europe already going on, but we still have to wrap up the Nations League, so this is a little bit hard to follow where everything is going. This review here is now about the Nations League because the first matches are being played on Thursday evening. So we're going to talk about what's going to happen in the Nations League. I will do then a separate video on quickly previewing World Cup qualifying in Europe. There's not a whole lot happening yet. However, in Asia and in South America, we're hitting crunch time. That much is for certain. But let's talk Nations League. We have the playoffs ahead of us. What does this mean? We have promotion and relegation playoffs between leagues A and B and C. We do not have yet the ones for C and D because of scheduling reasons, World Cup qualifying. Those will be played in a year from now. I know, not ideal, and no one is going to follow these matches unless you're one from these countries. And then we have also the quarterfinals in League A, which will probably draw most of the attention. And of course, we have to remind ourselves what games are coming up. So let's look at these and let's start from the bottom. So not the CD playoff, but the BC playoff. We have Kosovo playing Iceland, Bulgaria against Ireland. That's kind of biggish, nameish. Armenia, Georgia. I think that has a good ring to it. And then the Geography Classico, Slovakia against Slovenia. Yes, and those two are not neighboring nations either. However, they both border Austria. I think this is the pick of the four. Then in the AB playoff, so the winner goes into League A or remains in League A. So we have everyone that hosts the second leg is from League A. Same thing was for the BC playoff. Everyone that hosts the first leg came from League B. Turkey taking on Hungary. I mean, historically, there's a whole lot of bad blood between these two nations. I'm not sure if it is present day. Ukraine against Belgium, we already had at the Euros. I think that's an interesting one. Austria will face Serbia. On paper, Austria should be considered favorites. However, these will be two away games. Plenty of Serbians living in Austria. And then we have Greece against Scotland, which I think is an overlooked duel, but that could be quite interesting too. And then we have, of course, the quarterfinals with the big match Italy against Germany. Not only is this the big name clash of the entire playoff picture here, it's also the one that decides who will host the Final Four. Either it will be played in Turin, if it was hosted by Italy, or Stuttgart and Munich, most likely Stuttgart only. Munich is kind of saying we already have a Champions League final. I'm not sure if we want to host the Nations League Final Four as well. So watch that space. It would be easy if Italy move on. However, the Germans surely would want to feature for the first time in a Final Four. We also have Denmark against Portugal. We have Netherlands against Spain, so a replay of the 2010 final. And Croatia against France, the replay of the 2018 World Cup final. So quite big name fixtures. And as always, we have to ask ourselves, who are the favorites? And now we go again, bottom to top. We have Iceland favorites over Kosovo. Sounds about right. We have Ireland, pretty big favorites over Bulgaria. And while Ireland are in a rough space overall, Bulgaria is in a worse space. So I'm actually on board with Ireland being favorites there. Georgia have to be considered favorites over Armenia, although the Armenians definitely would like to get something from their Caucasus rivals, probably potentially. And then Slovakia, Slovenia, dead even. Teensiest of advantages to Slovakia. Also that even Turkey against Hungary. Teensiest of advantages for Turkey there. Belgium have to consider favorites over Ukraine, especially what's going on with the Ukraine and the Ukrainian squad. They have proven that this really affects them. I mean, how could it not? Austria favorites over Serbia. Again, two away games. That's something to consider. And Greece are actually favored over Scotland. Not sure if I'm quite buying that, but I think it is just a slim advantage. And then if we go up top, of course the big clash is the one that is closest, with Germany the slight favorites, mostly also because of hosting the second leg. But I would say Germany is at the moment a better team than Italy. Portugal, Spain and France, of course, favorites over their respective opponents. And the way that the quarterfinals are listed up there also represent the brackets. So the winner of Italy-Germany play the winner of Denmark-Portugal, and then Netherlands-Spain versus Croatia or France. When will these games be played? Well, let's again start in the BC playoff. All those games will be played, of course, on Thursday, true also for the other ones, with Armenia, Georgia being the first one at 6 o'clock. Everything else will be played at 8:45. Similar story for the AB playoffs. We have Turkey, Hungary in a solitary 6 o'clock spot. So I think that's also interesting. And then all the others, again, 8:45. Not so happy. I actually would have wished that Austria, Serbia would go to the early slots so I can focus more on the quarterfinals in the Nations League, which are all played at the same time on Thursday. I really hope there is some way that I do not only have to pick 3 games, that's the maximum I can watch, but that I can actually a little bit flip and flop between the games. You know, something like a goal show would be really nice, at least for me. So these are the games in the Nations League. I think quite some interesting stuff in there. I know it doesn't maybe amount for too much, but I repeat myself. The Nations League is only gonna gain in importance. I can very well see that very soon we will give qualifying spots based on the Nations League. Hear me out. This is exactly what the big nations want. In any case, let me know which matches you're looking forward to. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like these. And I will talk to you soon about more things in my soccer universe. Bye. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, here are some videos and playlists that you may enjoy too. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the little bell icon so you get notified whenever something happens in my soccer universe. And with that, have a wonderful day. Bye!